listening to the Ice Prep Podcast. Here's your hosts, Brian and Pat.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to round two, where we're down to 8 teams and things are already looking bleak for the Devils once again. Which, hey, they made it to round two. Wasn't looking like when we last talked. It wasn't looking like it.
Yeah, true. But, I wouldn't say bleak. They lost a game. Calm down.
It's their third 5-1 loss of the playoffs. I mean, yeah, the game wasn't the best. You could tell they were clearly tired. And the playoffs are... It's funny because it's one of two things. The rested team either looks rested or they come in slow. Or the team that just had a Game 7 2 nights ago looks ready, or they're like, oh, we need a break. And I think it was a little bit of they needed a break, and the Canes were ready.
Yeah, you can't really... It is a one or the other, but I think we will get into that eventually in this episode. But I think we first should start with just what happened. What went on? Who's in, who's out? I know obviously people are listening and they're like, we already know. Shut the hell up. But I still think that we should kind of just briefly go through and just kind of say our thoughts and prayers for those that are gone.
Fair enough. Well, for those who can see, we will start top left, go down, and then work to the right. So for those listening, we will start in the West. So the defending Stanley Cup champions taken out in Game 7. Seattle Kraken move on, which if you've seen our TikTok, you would know that my random picks had Seattle winning the Stanley Cup, so that's off to a great start. You sent me something, was it earlier today or yesterday? The Avs have a lot of decisions to do in the offseason, and everything that was going on leading into and during the playoffs, it's a wash. You made it there, hooray. The team gets extra money because of selling for, they got 4 playoff games, so it's good, and honestly... We've seen sometimes teams that can go on a couple deep runs, they pay for it. So who knows, maybe they come back next year and look out West Coast.
Yeah, there was something I saw, and it was close to $40 million worth of cap space was injured. That's not a team. I'm sorry. That's
the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, that is... So, does it suck? Absolutely. Obviously, I want my team to go deep. I think everybody that's an Avs fan was disappointed in a certain capacity. I was more relieved than disappointed. There was no way with that much damage to that team that they could make a deep run. They would, if they won Game 7, they would have been annihilated by the Dallas Stars. It would have been probably a sweep. So it's one of those... Does it suck? Totally, but let's recover. You guys have been pushing yourselves. You're broken. You're hurt. You're just recover, sign the people, and keep moving forward. I pulled up the graphic on my side, and I'm going to list off the names of who knows who's coming back to Colorado, because the upcoming free agents, that is coming very, very soon. That is, once this is all over, all of these people are, who knows? That is JT Compher, Lars Eller, the signing at the trade deadline, Evan Rodriguez, Andrew Cogliano, Darren Helm, Matt Nieto, Eric Johnson, Jack Johnson. Those are all UFAs, so they are fair game. They can just go and do whatever they want. And there are 3 RFAs, so restricted free agents of Alex Newhook, Dennis Malgin, and Bowen Byram. And I feel that all 3 of those will most likely be signed, for sure Byram. But they've got a lot of decisions to make because that's extensive. Yeah. So for those that are watching, Brian just put it up on the screen. That's not a small list. And honestly, I kind of feel like get rid of all of them and bring in some big guys in the UFA section. I'm sorry. I'm done with that.
It's going to be an interesting offseason because it's supposed to be a small cap this year jump and then a big one next year. So we'll see. And you were very honest early on that you were like, I don't want to see this extend. It's like, I'm happy we made it. Hurrah. We got the cup last year. Seattle.
They'll just injure themselves more.
Yeah. Seattle looks legitimately scary.
Yeah.
Even without McCann, they're obviously up 1-0 in that series, but we'll get to that. I don't know if there's much to say about the Minnesota Wild looking at the next series. They were just straight up beat. They had injuries, and they've got to figure out their goaltending situation. So, yeah, like,
well, do they need to figure it out? I think Gustafson's going to be their future, but
Fleury wants to play another year, so there's the big question mark there, right? So,
1A, 1B.
Who knows? Maybe he goes back to Pittsburgh.
But congrats to Dallas.
Yes, and they're scary, but it's going to be interesting. Pavelski comes back, scores 4 goals. Wow. So we'll go to the what are we at there? Pacific, Winnipeg. They're gone.
Cool.
It was expected. The second that Josh Morrissey got injured, it was like, okay, they're in trouble. And then they lost Mark Scheifele, and you could see just like the wind just completely out of the sails in Winnipeg.
Perhaps it was Bonus. Rick Bonus pretty much ripping his team a new one because who knows? It's just he was like, I hate this team and everyone on it. Rah, 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 rah. He kind of went in, and I mean, he wasn't wrong. They didn't show up. They didn't play. There was no heart on that ice. The Jets, I don't know, overlords, they decided to release a statement saying, yeah, maybe game 5, but the rest, they were great. No, they were not. So
no, it was kind of refreshing to see a coach be brutally honest about that. And the players were like, why would you say that in public and not behind closed doors? It's like everybody knew. Like, it wasn't this, like, that series would have gone 7 if Josh Morrissey doesn't get injured. But Vegas...
Well, I don't know. Vegas they play a very physical game, and Winnipeg used to. That's the thing. We're remembering Winnipeg when it had Byfuglien, Laine, Wheeler when he was, not
Tyler Meyer.
They had size, and they knew how to throw bodies, and that's why they got really far. They went up against Vegas, and Vegas doesn't have a ton of size, but they do smart pairings on their defensemen. They've got a little guy and a big guy. That's pretty much their pairings. And then they hit. They don't mind hitting. They finish every single check, and Winnipeg just couldn't keep up.
Well, not only that, they don't mind going toe-to-toe, like shot for shot, which we saw, obviously, in who they're playing. LA gets knocked out. That series could have gone either way. It's the quote-unquote expected outcome, and from everything you hear from the people that are paid a lot of money to talk hockey, it seems like there could be a lot of changes coming to LA because they have a lot of prospects that are like, either play me or trade me. And there's a lot of potential, like, big, good players that normally when expansion teams come along, we're like, wow, look at them go. It's that style of thing. There's just too many people ahead of them. So, and who knows, they still have to figure out their goaltending situation because I believe the only person they have on contract is Phoenix Copley because Korpisalo is a UFA. So,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they threw money at Korpisalo. Like he played really well for them, and I think he has relationships with people on that team. So we'll see. I mean, that's a big question mark for them. And then I also think Drew Doughty is a bit of a question mark for them too. He didn't look super duper.
He is getting older.
And he hasn't looked super duper for a few years. I know obviously last year he was like super injured, but he's getting older. Does he start looking at that big R word? Does he start looking, ooh, Pat. Ooh, anyways, retirement. That's the R word I'm talking about.
Thank you for clarifying, Pat.
Yikes.
We're going to move on from there. We'll stick with the West for right now. Just quickly, because we've had one game of, as of recording, Seattle-Dallas, and one game of Edmonton-Vegas. Because literally just after we finish recording, game 2 of Seattle-Dallas will start out. I've got to find the right tab here. It absolutely crazy involving both of those games. Which one is it here? I'll have to find it after. In that, no, I have the tab somewhere.
Oh, okay, I see.
Both teams that lost, so Dallas and Edmonton, 4 goal scorers. Like
Yep.
Pavelski scored 4 times, Draisaitl scored 4 times. Both teams lost. Do you know how
They have
ridiculous
they
that
have
is?
8 goals. There's 8 goals that have been scored in the West, and it's been scored by 2 people.
And their teams did not win. And that was like
Yeah.
unbelievable. That Seattle Dallas series, I don't know if we're going to see Seattle put up 3 goals in what was it, like 3 minutes again? But
Yeah.
I think that showed they don't have an elite superstar who can score, but their depth scoring of just everybody always, what was their leading, like they had like 6 or 7 people tied with 2 goals after the first round. That was it.
Yeah.
So that can be scary because that means it's just wave after wave after wave. Dallas should win that series, but if they've somehow managed to rattle Ottinger, who knows? Like that, he is the X factor of that series. If Ottinger is not the best player, Dallas cannot win.
I don't know. It's a different team than last year. I think that they can find a way to win because they've done that before. Because Ottinger was hurt this season for a couple weeks, and they had Wedgwood in net as their primary. And I'm not saying Wedgwood is bad, but he's not at the same tier as
Oh,
Ottinger.
I know that for a fact. He's been my goalie twice.
Exactly. He's still a very solid goaltender, and he played in Arizona for a little bit, so obviously he's now a god in hockey. Whoops, I hit my mic. There was a fluff flying in front of me. But I think that if Ottinger is able to give them 3 goals, in the sense that 3 goals, that's what he lets in, and that's the consistent. I think Dallas can still do it. They have more talent. Jason Robertson decided that he figured out how to be a superstar. Joe Pavelski scored 4 goals.
After being out the entire series against Minnesota because he was injured in game 1.
I think they can do it. It's just they're going to have to find another gear to be able to consistently be that in front of them because Seattle is no joke. Sagan even was quoted to say that like he doesn't even know who the first line is, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and that can be scary. And what's really fun for me to see is the former 1-for-1 traded player, Hall for Adam Larson, who was let go by Edmonton. He is having more than just a coming out party out there. He is ridiculously good for Seattle. So that's a fun series. I'm actually looking forward to watching that one tonight after the podcast. We'll finish up the West here. Vegas, Edmonton, you already heard us say Draisaitl scored 4. They lost. That second goal is going to be on highlight reels forever. Behind the red line, banked it in off of Brossoit. I wonder if we're going to see a game under 8 goals in this series.
I don't know.
Like
It's-
that's
ooh.
there's just so much firepower on both sides.
Yeah.
And Vegas showed last night, okay, we'll go shot for shot. And they had the last laugh. So
Can I just quickly say,
it's an
though,
all gas, no break series, and I love it.
the thing that really kind of bugs me about that series right now, and stay with me here, is that Edmonton, and I'm going again, stay with me. Let me finish my thought. Edmonton is clearly targeting Mark Stone's back after having surgery, and he's recovered and everything like that. Now, I understand that, yes, that is a weakness. However, what you're doing is like crippling an old man. And the worst part is that people are kind of praising it. And the same people that are praising it were complaining about Draisaitl being targeted last year with his ankle. And it's like, you can't have it both ways because both of them are really poopy things to do to people. That is awful. That's awful to target a person knowing that's where their injury is and where they're trying to, in Stone's case, recover, in Draisaitl's case, just not fall apart. To target that, I don't know. That to me screams poor sportsmanship, and celebrating or saying that's a smart move, that just reinforces the crappy parts of hockey, the non-sportsman-like side of hockey. So I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it. And it was Colorado did it to Draisaitl last year, and I was like, guys, come on, that's a bad look. It makes you look like scum, to be honest.
Looks
So,
like scum and
no.
desperate, and the fans will homer for it, either for or against. So that's unfortunately the way it goes. Let's go to the East. The President's Trophy, the President's Choice Trophy winners, they're out in 7. Post-mortem on this series, it's not as surprising as it looked going in. The second that this series went deep, and I am fairly certain if I go back on the tapes, I had said Florida is the only team I can see that will give Boston a run for its money. They play nastier, they play heavier, and their style just does not do well with Boston. And the later that series went on, that it showed. And man, Boston was a lot more injured than everybody thought. Ridiculous. It went to 7. Bergeron, Ullmark, it probably the swan song for Bergeron. Krejci probably doesn't come back, so.
Well, he said he might. He said he won't play in the Czech League. He said that if he's going to play, it's for Boston, and that's about it. So he might come back, but it also depends on ownership if they want to bring him back. So
Yeah, because he's got a cap penalty if he plays for them next year. So honestly, it's fun to see. Fun's a weird word. I like seeing the team that set the record for the regular season just out. We saw it with Tampa Bay and Columbus a couple of years ago. In the NBA, you saw the Golden State Warriors, who had, 9 regular season losses. They got bounced. It just goes to show regular season Warriors, it doesn't matter in the playoffs. It's different hockey, and Florida had their number.
Well, it's also Florida they're doing it in the series against Toronto right now, is they're capitalizing on every single mistake that's been made. They take it as a golden opportunity, and it's the exact same thing that happened to Boston.
I think it was, hold on, before the game, if I remember correctly, the stat was 11 of the Panthers' goals were within, it was like 10 or 15 seconds of a turnover. 2 of their 3 goals, as of recording, are from that. One
game.
mistake, and that's it. And not only that, they're playing the Tampa Bay style hockey of, you can't call every penalty because, oh my God, they're nasty. If you have anything else to add, we can stick with that. Otherwise, we will go to the Tampa Leaf series.
I am going to hold on to something that I'm going to say that Boston and the Rangers, they made choices that I felt were wildly similar. So
Okay.
We'll talk about that when we get to the Rangers.
Leafs Tampa. Leafs finally break the 19-year curse. Honestly, they should have done it years ago. And is it just going to be, hey, congrats, you made it in the second round, you can't get a win? They've got to figure a few things out. I can't believe after going 11-7 against Tampa in Game 6 that they didn't continue that trend. I wonder if we see that in Game 3, win or lose for the Leafs. Florida doesn't play a lot of fourth line, and honestly, it's kind of funny to see the one series that the Leafs they were the worst team.
Yeah.
They maybe won one of the 6 games, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Game 2, they dominated Tampa.
Right, that's right.
And then, look at years past. It was, they dominated the series, dominated every game, lost. So kind of, I guess, just the way it works out. And one of my, it's interesting to see how Leaf fans who were very everybody else sucks now that their team is down 1-0 in the series. They're like, maybe we shouldn't been so gloaty. That's a quarter of the way. At minimum.
I still say you can't take game one at face value. Look at the Edmonton Oilers. They have not won a game one in 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe
Wow.
they've won one or two, but think about last year. Not a single one. This year, well, they're 2 for 2 for losing both. They don't, but they still find ways to win the series. So I take every single game one with a grain of salt. There's going to be some poor play. There's going to be some crappiness here and there. That's going to happen, but it is best of 7. It's not best of 2.
Yeah, that's why the playoffs are the best. It is best of 7, and I've got the stat up on. I'll read it out for people. 6 of the 8 teams to advance in the first round of the playoffs had lost game 1. That is the most amount of teams to do so since the playoffs expanded to 16 teams in 1979.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Anything else you want to add on the Leafs Tampa series?
I am really glad to see. First of all, Tampa knocked out. There was not good play from them. They didn't look good. You had Crybaby Kucherov real early in the series. Stamkos just seemed, I don't know. He was trying to lead the team, but at the same time, he was leading it in the wrong way. It was nice to see them get out early.
They
and
almost
not be in the end again. Like, go away.
If you watch the handshake line, it was almost like a weird sense of relief. Like, yeah, we don't get to keep playing, but you could see just that, like, we can just go get drunk and relax. There was just kind of that, like, energy, and they seemed happy for the Leafs, which was interesting to see. Next series, the Islanders didn't score enough. Okay, shall we move on?
Congratulations, Bo Horvat, for being stuck in,
you know what?
the New York Islanders franchise in a system that doesn't work for your gameplay type. Come on, man.
I think $55-60 million. Yeah, you don't really care too much. There's not much to say about that series. Carolina outplayed them constantly. The Islanders' best player was their best player, but their forwards just couldn't help out. Why can't I think of their goalie's name?
For what?
The Islanders goalie.
Oh, my brain wasn't working.
Yeah, you were on something else.
I was looking at if the Edmonton Oilers had won a game one. Sorokin, Ilya Sorokin.
Thank you. I was like, you should know. You bet on him to win the Vezina.
I know. I put a whole 25 cents. And Josh Morrissey. Womp womp. He didn't even get to the finals. Boo. Fox.
We'll get to that. I've got all of that. Well, you said Fox. Shall we move on to the last series? Devils win Game 7. It's an interesting thing. Talked a tiny bit because obviously my team. I didn't watch any of Game 7. I felt like crap. I came home from work and went right to bed and woke up to a bunch of messages, and I was like, that's either good or bad. I have no way of knowing. Saw it was 4-0. I was pleasantly surprised. Rangers, who were supposed to come in as this offensive juggernaut, they scored a bunch in the first 2 games and in Game 6. In the games that they lost, they had a combined 2 goals.
Yep.
So if they were losing, it was not even close. Akira Schmid is looking awesome for the Devils. Yeah, he got pulled in Game 1, but I think that might just be a little bit of overwork on his part. Like, that's a lot of hockey.
You sent me the thing that Lindy Ruff said to him, that it wasn't his fault. It wasn't because of the play that he was playing. It was a move to be like, hey, guys, get your crap together. Let's get this better.
This is obviously Game 1 of Carolina against New Jersey, and a big part of that, the Devils, through one period, had 1 shot. At the end of 2 periods, they had a total of 10 shots. You're not competitive in a game if that happens. I know you wanted to talk Rangers, so I'll let you do that before we move on to the Florida Leafs series quickly.
Okie doke. So what I kind of teased with the whole Boston kind of mentality as well as New York Rangers is, and this is maybe just me, it's just something that kind of came to my head, and it was the teams did they loaded up. They went out and they're like, let's get the best people that we can get at the trade deadline. So, Boston brought in Garnet Hathaway, who unfortunately was injured, but Dmitry Orlov and Tyler Bertuzzi and a couple other people that they added to their lineup. And then the Rangers, obviously, they got Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko and a couple other like tiny pieces throughout as well. And what they did is they brought in offensive threats either on the blue line or as a forward. And then because of that, they had to remove fourth liners ish, move them to the AHL because they had to make space. So they took out people that were defensively minded forwards or defensively minded defensemen to replace with either aging players in Tarasenko and Kane. I'm sorry, Tarasenko is aging. Kane is obviously aging. And because of this, they sacrificed two-way or even defensive offense players or defensive forwards for pure offense and no defense. And because of that, they screwed themselves. They brought in these players thinking, yes, we are going to outscore everything. And they kind of forgot about like defense. What are you doing?
Well, it looked that way game 1 and 2 for them, let's be honest. Like even for Boston, the series looked over to start. I mean, a big issue for the Rangers was their first overall draft from a few years back. 7 games. Do you know what his stat line was after that? Yep, zeros across the board. And that's going to be a big question mark in the offseason because if the Rangers want to trade him, he is at the lowest possible value he could ever be at. And like they're going to be an interesting team to look at in the offseason. Very quickly, we'll jump back to Florida and the Leafs because that series is ongoing. Game 3 is ongoing as we talk. We won't look at anything happening in that looking at this. Florida wins game 1. And the one thing, you and I message way too much about hockey, let's be honest.
We truly do.
We said if Bennett and Tkachuk, especially Tkachuk, if he can get going, the Leafs don't stand a chance. Tkachuk had a 3-point night. He was everywhere. Hopefully the Leafs can do a better job of figuring out how to get not the fourth line out against him. And as we already talked about, you can't do turnovers against this team. Otherwise, good luck when you get to Florida because, yeah, there's going to be a lot of Leaf fans there, but they've paid a lot of extra money for those tickets.
Yeah, no, this is going to be interesting. If the Leafs do not win, even tonight, I think that they might be in trouble. I know 2 games isn't anything, but to the fan base, it's everything. That means
rabid fan base.
They're 50% of the way out at that point. That's kind of where the head is at of a lot of Leafs fan base of like, they're still hopeful, there's still 50% chance, but like when they're down 2-0, ooh, that's a tough hill to climb. It's been done already these playoffs.
Wow, there's 2 teams that came back from down 2 games. But yeah, If you go down 2-0 in a series, that magic glow of we made it out of the first round, it goes away real quick.
It sours a bit, and then at that point, what happens? But
who knows?
For the other side of it is the atrocious refereeing.
Oh, it's we're not even going to talk. It's every series. Like I have never heard panelists on the networks complain this much about how bad it is, and it's so bad. Like Carolina, New Jersey last night, I couldn't get over it how ridiculously bad it was. And I am sorry, but the second that I heard Wes McCauley, I messaged you and it was like, oh, it's going to be a bad game. And it was like, he just stands there, watches Nico. Yeah, I think it was Nico get hit in the face with a stick.
No, it's Hughes.
Oh, Hughes, sorry. Hit in the face with a stick. He's bleeding. He's looking at him, and he just turns the other way. It's like, no, that's a 4-minute penalty. And he just looks away because, yeah, the Devils were already on a power play because of a high stick. So it's like, come on. It's the Carolina-New Jersey series is going to be interesting. I don't think we will win game 2. I would like them to be a little bit more competitive. I hope they try an 11-7. We were talking. I'm wondering if Ryan Graves comes out and Luke Hughes makes his playoff debut.
I honestly, I gotta say, I don't think we're gonna see Luke Hughes. I think that they're trying to keep him sheltered in the sense of you've got an entire career ahead of you. This isn't the end of the New Jersey Devils. If they lose this, it's gone.
That's the advantage of 11-7, though, is that you can really protect his minutes. And unlike the Rangers, Carolina are a fast team. The second that Luke Hughes steps on the ice, he is the Devils' fastest defenseman. Like, he leaves the rest of the team in the dust. I'm pretty sure he outskates his brother. Graves looks so bad.
He's got cement skates. Like, there was a breakaway that should not have been a breakaway, but he couldn't keep up. I loved him on the Avalanche. Ooh, there's an angry car driving by me. Probably got picked up by the mic there. I loved him.
Loved him last year with the Devils. Loved him in the regular season. He has not looked himself these playoffs. So,
But plain and simple, if the officiating continues this way, it's hard to watch hockey.
Yep.
It's, as a hockey fan, I'm kind of embarrassed. And I know that it's not just NHL. Like, obviously, people know of Angel Hernandez, the umpire for MLB. People know that name, and Joe West, and they don't really watch baseball. I know Joe West is retired. So it's not an NHL only problem. However, holy crap, how have you missed some of these calls? It's embarrassing. It truly is. As a fan of the sport, like, it's hard to defend it, and it's hard to say you guys should watch this if you've never watched a game, because, you know, I know we're not supposed to talk about the games that are happening right now, but it's going to be a thing. Nye's got, like, rock bottomed. He got his head punched and then slammed to the ice, and nothing, absolutely nothing. He also got hit in the head. Someone skated by and hit him in the head. I believe it was Bennett again.
Oh, he's targeting. He's hard targeting. Yeah, so we had said literally just before we started, I wonder if the NHL, well, they obviously won't, but they have to take a look at Bennett because he is targeting. And yeah, that is his style of play, but that's why Calgary had to get rid of him, because he was such a liability.
He should be a liability. That's the thing. He's playing as a liability, and nothing is happening because, oh, well, we already called 2 penalties on Florida.
It's the Tampa Bay Lightning school of hockey. They can't call everything, and we're seeing they even did it in round 1. Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Skate up and punch a dude in the face if you're already down 2 penalties, and just, if they do it, well, what happened to game management? It's pathetic. It's honestly, I know that it's a tough job, and I'm not trying to discredit how challenging it is to be a referee, but do your damn job. You see it happen. Don't pretend like you don't. Just call the penalties. People want that. People want more goals. That's what people want.
Like, even if you think it is, you can call it. You can say it's a 5. That means you get to look at it on video review. Fans would rather wait the minute to know it's right than not have anything. We could honestly go on this forever. We've got 4 different awards where the nominees have been announced. I've got them ready here. We will start with the one that was announced earlier today, which is the Norris.
Yep.
So the finalists are Adam Fox on the Rangers, Erik Karlsson, San Jose, Cale Makar, Colorado. It's that I'm sorry to Fox and Makar. We already know who won.
Also, they should not. Maybe Fox, but Makar shouldn't be there. I'm sorry.
Erik Karlsson should have 100% of the first vote. Let's be honest. He's the only reason why San Jose is not the best odds for Connor Bedard.
It goes back to, I hate that the award is who's the best offensive defenseman. That's what the award should be. There should be a defensive defenseman as well.
Yeah, they really do need to have 2 separate awards for, defensive defenseman and most points. Stick with Friedman
and
again.
and also Morrissey should be on there, not Makar. I'm sorry.
Morrissey had
Obviously,
an amazing season.
yeah, and like Makar, absolutely. I think he's a fantastic hockey player. He's been playing hurt. They lost more games with him on the ice than with him not there. Byram and Taves were the better of the two when it came to defensemen this year. So, no offense to Makar, I don't think he should be in the top three.
Not for this
but
year.
He's still played fantastic, but just not Norris tier this year.
Fox and Makar got in on name recognition alone.
Absolutely.
Calder Trophy, Matty Bernier, so he's still in the playoffs. Owen Power and Stuart Skinner. I actually put a quarter down on Skinner way back when, so I'm kind of hoping Matty is a good chance to get it. However, it's been quite some years since we've had a goalie, and he had good numbers. So this one I feel like is closer than people think.
I still think it's going to be Matty Beniers.
He's the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, he played fantastic, which is great. It's always good to see the expansion team keep their pick, I guess, and then they do great things. So it's nice to see Beniers doing that, and hopefully we see Shane Wright do something similar next year. And I don't think he's eligible for Calder because I think he played over the amount of games that he was allowed to.
No, he is not, because he didn't even burn
okay.
his first year off of his contract.
Perfect.
Because he got sent down right after, so just before.
Yeah, so hopefully we see Shane Wright do something similar. That'd be really awesome for him, and I think that would be great for the team. I think it'd be really good for hockey in general as well. So yeah.
From there to the Selke. Now we already know who's going to win it. So the three nominees are Patrice Bergeron, Nico Hischier, Mitch Marner, the first winger to get nominated in, my goodness, a long time.
Top three.
Yes, top three. That's, if I'm saying nominated, it's top three.
Yes.
We all know Bergeron's going to win it. He's won 5. There's the record. They might as well just rename this trophy after him. I would love to see Nico get it. I'm more interested in how close 2 and 3 are going to be to each other.
Yeah, I was actually really, really happy to see a winger get it, because it's been like Marian Hossa was the last that was like kind of knocking on the door, I believe.
And Mark Stone should have honestly won it for a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's just for some reason wingers just are fully discredited, and it's just simply because of
they don't take faceoffs. Yeah.
So it's good to see Marner on there, just to kind of shake that up. I like to see little like bits of change like that. So,
well, he's probably the best penalty killer in the National Hockey League right now. So him and Marchand, honestly, like the amount of what they do.
Well, and Aho, you don't give Aho enough credit. He is a superstar that everyone just fully forgets about.
And then finally, we've got the Lady Byng finalists, which is basically for like the most sportsmanlike player, also known as player who is really good, who takes few amount of penalties. Jack Hughes from New Jersey, Anze Kopitar, and Braden Point. Kopitar is the likely, it feels like if he's not going to get the Selke on a year, he's bound to get something. I'd love to see Jack Hughes get it. Who knows?
It's going to be a relatively tight race, though.
Yeah, that's another one where there's like no runaway. So we'll have to see. Jack Hughes had 6 penalty minutes in his games that he played. Kopitar, I believe, was 2 in 80 games or something like that. So, yeah.
Well, the other thing that's kind of wild is I think Matty Beniers had 2 penalty minutes all year.
Yeah, he was one of those players that could have, but I think they like to see a couple years of like, what's this player actually like before they go ahead and kind of deep dive in on like giving them a chance. So yeah, that's a pretty good roundup of everything that's happened in the last week and stuff that came out today. Because obviously the Norris finalists, that one was just before puck drop in Toronto.
We did forget one thing, and that is the sham of a league that we are currently covering, because what is this schedule? 2 Saturday games? 2 Saturday playoff games.
No, yeah, there's no Leafs on Saturday.
No.
They play Sunday. they originally had the Oilers slated to play tomorrow night on Friday. They moved that one to Saturday because they had no Saturday game scheduled. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I want to quickly do this for you, Pat. Florida up 2-0 in the series.
Ooh, not good. Not good for the Leafs. They need to do some changes, and they need to do changes fast. I know, obviously, their hand is going to be forced with probably Nyes being out if he's got a concussion. Not good. Not good at all.
So there's that as we get close to the end of the episode. So that game just finishing up. Panthers, that's a crazy playoff record, 6-3. Good for them. But yeah, like Friday, one game. Saturday, one game. 3 games on Sunday. Monday, one game. Like the Leafs play Thursday, so today. They don't play again till Sunday, and then they don't play again till Wednesday. It's so incredibly stupid how they've scheduled that. Yeah, it's there's a yeah, that's I mean, when TNT and ESPN are the ones that bring in the most amount of viewers, they care more about basketball, and hockey gets pushed aside because Gary Bettman has done a great job about making hockey. It used to be the second biggest draw in North America. It's what, 4th now, I believe. Like at times it gets below like MLS, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've seen that at times.
If F1 is starting to take it over as well.
Well, because that's in Miami this weekend, so that's all kicking off tomorrow. But yeah, it's not good. I mean, you kind of, if you're going to have any team go up against Golden State Warriors, Lakers, do the Leafs. People are gonna tune in because by the like Sportsnet has to be pissed at that one. So that's kind of the goings on there. And then I did
next week, next recording, we will know who is getting Connor Bedard unless they trade their pick for Austin Matthews to get Connor Bedard. Chaos.
Yeah, because that happens Monday at 8. It had to be moved an hour later because of all the scheduling stuff. Isn't it fun?
I hate this. Oh, that was almost my first F-bomb on this. And it's just how stupid this damn sport is. Or not even sport, this damn league. There's so many things. Why are hits to the head still happening? How is Jacob Trouba still completely scot-free? Not a single hearing, nothing. That was a dirty hit. Yes, it was legal by the book, but he literally targeted Timo Meier's face. Obviously, his shoulder went directly into it. He saw his head was down, and he didn't adjust. That is a targeted hit. I don't care.
Just because a hit is legal and clean doesn't mean it's a hit that should be in the NHL. So
it's wrong. Hits to the head should not happen. And I think everyone agrees that getting hit to the head and getting a concussion is not a super duper fun thing to do. Ugh. Rage.
So as we're recording right now, I've just typed something into Google saying, what day is today? Today is Thursday, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, Pat.
What day is it today? May the 4th.
Because you sent me this. Because we are, after all, Star Wars nerds we are, as much as we are hockey people, there's probably more, if not nerddom with a lot of things. So this is obviously from IGN. I'm assuming it's their, Pat showing his NES tattoo.
So what I sent was IGN tweeted this out and said this was their rankings for the top Star Wars movies out of all of the movie franchise. And I'm going to go from their first to their 11th quickly. And I'm curious if Brian agrees or disagrees with this list. So number 11, we'll go from the bottom to the top. So last place, they rank Rise of Skywalker. at 11. Then 10 is Attack of the Clones. 9 is The Phantom Menace. 8 is the Han Solo movie, so Solo, a Star Wars story. Number 7 is Revenge of the Sith. Number 6 is The Force Awakens. Number 5 is Rogue One. Number 4 is The Last Jedi. Number 3 is Return of the Jedi. Number 2 is A New Hope. And number 1, The Empire Strikes Back. Brian, what do you think of this list?
The top 3, 2 out of the 3 are correct. The Last Jedi does not deserve to be anywhere near the top. Solo, a Star Wars story, is too far down on the list. I think Rogue One personally is a top 3 Star Wars movie ever. I don't know if, like, as a singular movie, it is amazing. As part of the greater story, it lays so much groundwork that it makes the original movies better.
Mm-hmm.
I would not change Empire. I would not change A New Hope. I would move Rogue One up because I feel like Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie of the bunch. I'm honestly one of those people. I would have Last Jedi, Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker as 9, 10, 11. I don't care what order. And I would probably have... Okay, so we got... What I say? We'll go Empire, A New Hope, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Solo, Revenge, Attack, and then the latest 3.
Okay.
The reason why I have Phantom Menace up there so high is it has probably one of the best fight scenes in any of the Star Wars films, and the music in that movie is amazing. I don't care about Jar Jar Binks. I could care less. It's, at the end of the day, every single one of these movies, minus Rogue One and Solo, is aimed at kids. People forget that fact.
Okay. So, for my list,
I should have had a
number
document
one-
so we could see the changes that we made.
I know. Number 1, the top Star Wars movie for me, because obviously I'm a hot take machine, is Rogue One. I'm sorry. That movie, to me, was fully game-changing when it came to everything with Star Wars. I know that's what they wanted with Force Awakens. That didn't happen. It was good, but Rogue One was unbelievable, and it had one of the absolute most iconic moments in all of Star Wars with that dark room and the red lightsaber lighting up. Chills when that hit. I remember we saw it in theaters together.
Yep.
And the two of us, we like grabbed each other when
There was
that
the
happened.
shoulder grab, like...
We were just like, what the... Oh, that was even closer, that one. Absolutely incredible.
Before you move on, I do want to say that movie is the reason why we have as many Star Wars shows as we do now. Because It was a test, okay, what are people going to think about these other shows?
Yeah. So everything else... Oh, Brian's trying to fix his camera, so he's high-fiving the lens. So then from there, I actually I put A New Hope, then Return of the Jedi. You'll notice that Empire still isn't on the list. Then The Last Jedi. Yup. That's right. I'm going to have Empire at 5th. I really enjoyed The Last Jedi, again, because of one particular scene, and that is when everything went silent and that ship went through so many ships.
That is
that
a very good moment.
Yeah, and just, yes, there was corny and stupid garbage in it. I know that. That's kind of just what Star Wars does. But I just felt that it told a really unique story, a very different story than any of the other ones, and it was refreshing to me. All the other movies, the newer ones, kind of felt like...
you could tell that it was different writers and directors.
Absolutely.
They should have just stuck with one person throughout, so at least it was a constant story.
And I get that. It just, to me, it resonated with me. And that's either people hated it or liked it. So I also would put Phantom Menace at 6th, and then Revenge of the Sith. But I disagree. That has the best fight scene in all of Star Wars and the best music in all of Star Wars, because Come on, Mustafar, really?
I'm
That
a
was amazing.
I'm a big fan of Darth Maul, though. So I mean, and Duel of Fates. What can I say?
True. That is a good one, but yeah, and then the rest I think we kind of agree. Although I'd put Solo lower. I didn't enjoy it.
I went into
That
Solo.
wasn't mine.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that went into Solo angry that they didn't just magically have young Harrison Ford.
Oh, I didn't care about that.
I
Like,
thought it
I
was
love Donald Glover. I think he's a fantastic actor, but it just I don't know, didn't click with me.
I thought it was fun. And then yeah, it's interesting how both of us are kind of on the same boat of IGN has Phantom Menace at number 9. We both bumped it up. I bumped it way up. Those prequel movies, if you obviously it's taking a part of the movies out, but a lot of the dialogue, the acting, the scenes, the costumes, the music, everything, it's so good.
And what it bred as well. Like, think about Star Wars Battlefront, the video game that came out from those movies. Oh my goodness. I played that game until my disc broke. Broke.
Good save.
It was just, I don't know. There were Brian's camera is flickering.
No,
now,
I'm
too.
trying to
What is
fix it.
doing?
It's bothering me because it's blurry.
But even still, yes, I know we've talked a lot about Star Wars all of a sudden, and sorry for those that don't care. But no, I think for both of us, these movies were important to us in some capacity, one way or another, and it's always kind of nice to, go through them and just, reminisce a little bit about it.
I mean,
So,
I do
yeah,
have a son named Luke.
that's true. I don't know how you snuck that one in.
Hey.
You literally have Disney character children.
Yep.
That's insane.
Hey, my wife, said, I like the name Luke. I said, I like the name Luke as well.
Do you go, Luke?
I
Luke?
haven't started to do that one to him yet. I do have a shirt that says, Luke, I am your father, though. I got that as a Father's Day gift the first year that I was a dad. Yes, and then also having Aurora.
Yeah.
And we have
Oh,
a
my
picture
goodness.
of my daughter and Luke with Princess Aurora at Disney, so that's fun as well.
Right. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Anyway,
Any hoodles.
yeah,
Not.
that's about it for this episode. We went a little longer than we expected, which is fine. By the time we speak next, it will either be Game 7s of Round 2 or the beginning, potentially, of Round 3. If series end earlier, obviously everything moves up a little bit quicker, so we'll have to see what happens there. I'm still going to stick with my random pick, I guess, which is Kraken Devils in the final. Pat, without thinking, who's your finals? Who's winning?
I'm gonna stick with my tree of Dallas and Toronto, but I'm feeling less and less confident about that with Toronto winning. But
Two teams have already come back from being down 2. We'll have to see what happens. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Once again, Pat's looking like he's got something quick he wants to add.
my one last thing, and I told you I wanted to talk about this, is
yes.
on Twitter, there is a feature, and by feature, I mean accessibility feature, that is the alt text function. And I don't know if you've seen it, and I continue to see it. A lot of companies are using that as a way to add in a silly goose kind of meme where it says, click this button here, and it's an arrow pointing to an alt text icon. As you can see on the screen, there's just, it says alt, A-L-T. And people are filling that with joke text. One that I saw was just a whole bunch of meows, which, you know, haha, that sounds funny. That is a feature for those that are visually impaired. It's not a joke. It's not a punchline. And it's been really bothering me the past couple weeks. And, you know, I don't have a lot of platform. This is my only platform. So why not talk about it here? Don't do that.
This is what it's supposed to be used for. Image description.
Absolutely.
Alex Wenberg in an away Seattle Kraken jersey during warmups. If you notice, the NHL, all of their teams, they are so good. Even any like graphic that shows the score, they have every last detail. That's what it's there for. That's what it's designed for. So.
And it's used for readers. So when a person that is visually impaired is scrolling through Twitter, they have a voice that speaks through them, either through their computer or their phone, and it reads out what the image alt text says. So if it's filled with meme text, it just hits them out of nowhere and they have no idea what's going on. And I'm not saying it's like jarring or whatever it is, but it's pointless. It's using a feature. It's like, making fun of ramps or any sort of like I don't know if you've seen the little pads at the streets at the corners of the sidewalks. That's used for the visually impaired as well. It's a tool to help others. So to use it as a joke or a punchline is really incredibly insensitive and disrespectful. So please do not do it that way. Don't be one of those people. Be a good person.
And that's a good spot to end it on, Pat. We'll talk to everybody next week.